Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live podcast of The Room, the podcast that's brought to you by LFC Transfer Room. And it's the first podcast that we've done since the January window slammed shut. And, it was a very eventful window for once for Liverpool, especially towards the back end. I think none of us really were expecting too much, but we have a huge thank you to Tottenham Hotspur that we'll get onto in a moment. And we ended the drama with not quite a second signing in Fabio Carvalho, who we'll get onto later as well. I'm joined by my co-host, Matty Dann, YouTube sensation. How are you, Matty?
I'm good. Going to Wembley, so that's exciting. And the Reds have actually bought someone, so that's exciting. So it's been a good few days to be a Red, to be fair.
Excellent. And we'll get on to how we get to Wembley for everybody else who is saying, how have you managed to get a ticket, Matty? We got on to that information a bit later too. I'm also joined by Dan, who is head honcho at LFC Transfer Room. Always a pleasure to have you on, Dan. How are you?
Hey guys, I feel like I'm a regular now here on the pod and in the YouTube. I've been appearing every single day. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, you're probably going to see me. I just got out of the shower too, like earlier, so you're probably going to be seeing me style my hair and whatnot. So, but if you're on the audio version, you're totally fine. Head over to YouTube.
Vanity, all is vanity. So we will open up with Luis Diaz, our brand new signing for 37.5 million, and that fee we can really thank Tottenham Hotspur to, because breaking down the deal, it's an amazing deal, really, considering his release clause. And I think Porto's FFP situation has helped us because they were very, very close to actually being excluded from European competition. And Liverpool essentially sent 8 million to them instantly. When Luis Diaz had his medical, Liverpool sent 8 million to them so they could pay off their debts immediately. So they will be in Europe next year, which is great because we always like playing Porto in Europe. But we also have a very good relationship with them too, and it's always good to have a giant within the Champions League. But Tottenham Hotspur, as I'm sure you all would have known, Luis Diaz was actually very close to signing for Spurs, and they were the ones really who negotiated that 37.5 million. I think actually they bid a tiny bit more, and Luis Diaz's agent obviously made Liverpool aware. They knew that Liverpool were interested in the summer, and Liverpool, all they had to do was bid the same, perhaps a little bit less for Tottenham, because Luis Diaz actually wanted to come to Liverpool over Spurs. Much like the Alisson Becker deal, if you remember, not too long ago, where Chelsea did all of the legwork for us as well, negotiated the fee, and Liverpool just, matched it. So, and Becker chose us, and he's a Premier League winner and Champions League winner because of it. And hopefully Luis Diaz will say the same. Thoughts, Matty, then, on Luis Diaz?
He's all right. Yeah, he looks all right. I done a video on the YouTube looking at his stats and that, and he's a very driven player. He's not really a pass and move type player based on his stats, but from the 180 minutes that I have seen of him when we played him in the Champions League, he looks exciting. Good additions to the squad. He adds, again, more depth. It's interesting because he plays a lot of his football on the left, doesn't he? And that's where Jota's natural position is, and Mane's. So it's whether he's coming into play across the front three, we'll be soon to be seen. But I'm excited by him. I really am. I didn't expect us to buy him. It's always good, in my opinion, to rob a signing from someone. We've never used to be able to do that so many times. Players have left us and went somewhere else. So for us to be able to rob a signing from someone's good. We've been linked to him for a long time. We've spoken about him a few times, and to see you get over the line, I'm made up, to be honest with you. I think it's a good move for the club. It's first Colombian, apparently, to represent the club as well. So it opens up markets there in terms of business opportunity. So I'm excited by it. He looks good. And more competition for places. We've seen with José and Mane. They've both been playing a lot better. We've seen with Bobby as well. He's improved since José's came in. It's competition for places. It's always good at the club.
Matty, did you just forget about Anderson Arroyo, the youngster, the right back? He's Colombian too, remember?
I don't know.
You forgot about Anderson Arroyo? We'll talk about him. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But here's Luis Diaz will be the second Colombian player to represent Liverpool. Although Arroyo is a youngster who's still on loan, I think it is. But we'll talk about him a little bit.
So Luis Diaz, obviously, has pace, trickery, a lethal shot. He was a joint top goal scorer, wasn't he, at the Copa America last year? And his stats are actually really impressive. He has a 60 goal involvement in 125 games for Porto, and that's 41 goals and 19 assists. So he's certainly, only just turned 25. He's certainly on a good trajectory. He has an excellent work rate, which is, I'm sure, what will endear him to Jurgen Klopp. But working for Coinstar will do that for you, having a good work rate. What's interesting, I suppose, about him as well is he scores goals cutting in from the left-hand side. And that does seem like a Mane replacement, because we've seen Jota play through the middle a lot more. And Jota seems nowadays like a bit more of a poacher. If you look at a lot of his goals for Liverpool, they are inside the box. They're with his head. They're with his feet. He is an out-and-out goal scorer. His movement reminds me of Michael Owen in the box. He can find space. He can blast a shot. He can place a shot. I generally think that although he started on the left-hand side, I think he's Liverpool's Bobby Firmino replacement. And whether that was planned or not, it will remain to be seen. But, it does throw question marks in the air about Sadio Mane, because we know the front three, Firmino, Mane and Salah, all only have 18 months left on their contract. I think a lot of things will come down to what Mohamed Salah does. Hopefully he'll sign a new deal that would really top off, this couple of months. What do you think about Mane and Firmino's future with Luis Diaz coming in?
I think we should give them new deals, to be honest. This is what's mad. For years, everyone always moans, people have got no depth. We need depth. We need, look at City's bench compared to ours and stuff. And then, we sign a new player and everyone's all over Twitter, everyone's saying about Mane and stuff, and we need to respect them and stuff. I think we give all three of them new deals, to be honest with you. Even if they're getting older, they're still good in the good depth options. Do I think we'll give them a new deal? Yeah, I think we'll give all three of them new deals, to be honest with you. How long that is, I don't know. But didn't we offer Henderson 2 years and he wanted 3 or something or more money? We'll probably give them a deal that's only 2 years or whatever it is. I think they'll all get new deals, and I think when Klopp leaves, we'll still have the lot of them. So I'm not worried at all. But I do think Mane will still start ahead of Diaz at the start, because we've seen with loads of our players, they don't come in and start straight away. Although Diaz is probably one for the future as well. He's not going to come in and replace any of that front four at the minute, so to speak. He'll get minutes here and there. He'll come off the bench like Jota did, and then that's his chance to prove himself, score goals, get assists, and break his way into the first team. It's how Jota done it. So it's up to Diaz now, really, to break into that front four somehow.
Absolutely. And also, just a quick little thing on the conversation is that I can see where people would say that obviously because he cuts inside, there could be some similarities between Bobby Firmino, who's a striker, but watching him, because I watched his Colombia matches during the qualifiers a lot, and a few Porto games, obviously the ones they play against us and whatnot. But I can tell you guys, we're getting not a striker at all. He's a winger, and we need more hype around him. He's considered right now one of the most informed wingers in South America. He's so good, and I'm telling you right now, and you guys can laugh at me all you want, like not obviously Richie and Matty, but maybe the people that are listening, but he is at the same quality level as the Haalands, as the Adeyemis, the Vlahovics. The only difference is that he's a winger. I'm telling you, this is a world-class player in the making. You guys will see once he joins the Liverpool side and does all his wonders, but he is just so good. And then, and Richie, don't compare him with Bobby Firmino. What is going on, Richie? Come on. He's not a striker. You said
I was talking about Jota.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
sorry,
I was talking about Jota. I think Diaz is the Mane replacement, and I think Jota will be the Firmino replacement.
I apologize. Anyways, but it's just, we need more hype around him. I'm telling you, this is not just a regular signing. This is a world-class breaking signing. I mean, if his name was Luisinho Diazinho or something like that, I could tell you everybody will go crazy. But this is a top class talent.
He's certainly going to be exciting. I think, as I said, before, Tottenham did a lot of the legwork, and if he wasn't going to go to Liverpool, Porto had already accepted that bid for Tottenham because of the fact they needed money. So fair play to the new Michael Edwards, Julian Ward. Apparently the assistant sporting director, led the club's negotiations alongside Michael Edwards. And obviously, we know that Michael Edwards is heading out, unfortunately. So, Ward was Liverpool's scouting manager in Spain and Portugal originally for 3 years, and he's now going to become the club's sporting director. So it's a very good signing to get off, and we can't wait to see Luis Diaz strut his stuff at Anfield. Also, another note that I read, and again, I don't know about how reliable it was, but the medical and the fee and personal terms had actually all been agreed with Tottenham, and it was the fact that Diaz in Colombia that there was no signed agreement, and that's why Liverpool could swoop in and hijack the deal as well. So thank you to Colombia and all of the South American teams for having fixtures when we needed you most. So yeah, thank you for that. On to the one that nearly happened, and ever the optimist, I still think will happen. I think Fulham's Fabio Carvalho will still happen. Not really too sure yet. Nothing's major been released. It was just that we know that the FL don't accept, the extension sheets essentially, and I think that it's going to be pretty much. Carvalho knows where Liverpool stand. We wanted him. We can wait until the summer. We can wait until he's on a free. The fact we were willing to offer £8 million to sign this young lad shows our intent. He's already accepted personal terms. We don't have to sign. We don't have to sign him right now. We can sign him in a month's time. We can sign him in 2 months' time. But I certainly think we won't wait too long, because I think the big European sharks are circling for a talent like Fabio Carvalho. And as Paul Joyce, probably the most reliable journalist out there, as he said, this deal is not dead. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. I think Fulham having Neco Williams has really sweetened the deal. I think Fulham having Neco, builds that relationship. I know there wasn't a great relationship with the Harvey Elliott tribunal. Fulham certainly don't want to go through that again. Liverpool don't want to go through that again. Don't want to risk losing this young kid. So I think it still happens. It would have topped off a wonderful transfer window, if I'm honest. But yeah, thoughts on Fabio Carvalho and the almost deal that never quite happened.
A quick shout out to Haler and Gary that are in the comments. We'll get to your comments soon, by the way. Sorry, Matty.
I wouldn't even say it's a nearly deal. I think it's done, to be honest with you. I think it'll probably be announced before the summer window opens. I haven't seen much of him. People who have spoken to who watch Championship football have said he's probably been the best player in the Championship this season. It looks like he's got a bright future ahead of him. One for the future, one who can probably play cup games and get off the bench and that now, again, adds depth. So yeah, I'm excited by it. A lot of people, and myself included, were a bit deflated on transfer deadline day that we didn't get it over the line, but we wouldn't have seen him at Anfield until next year anyway. So whether it gets over the line now or gets over in the line in 2-3 months, we'll still get him. I know other clubs can speak to him. It's been everywhere that he wants to work under Jurgen Klopp. So while other clubs may have good projects like Dortmund and stuff, but they haven't got Jurgen Klopp, and the pull of him is he's arguably the best manager in world football, whichever way you want to look at it. So why wouldn't you want to go and learn from him?
Do you guys you guys probably know more about this, but is it true that if a foreign club takes a youngster like Carvalho per se, there's no tribunal?
No, yeah, they basically get
So then my question is, do you guys agree, or do you guys think that maybe this was premeditated?
By who?
By Liverpool and Fulham as well, considering that medical was done and considering that paperwork was already in place and everything. And it's just surprising that we sent Neco Williams on loan, but we didn't get Carvalho. But yeah, we can still agree a fee, and then both parties are happy to agree on a fee. I just feel like it's a premeditated move by both sides just to avoid tribunal and then have a player on top of money. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, think. I think Fulham would definitely. Fulham would definitely don't want to lose him to a European team because they won't get any compensation really for him. And they don't want to go to a tribunal because Harvey Elliott's tribunal fee was a fraction now of what we would have paid for him. So they won't want that either. And if I'm honest, I think Carvalho is probably in the strongest position because, you know, those personal terms that he agreed to with Liverpool, well, if Dortmund come in and offer him more money, then he's a really good, he's in a really good bargaining position. So, you know, there'll be add-ons there as well that Fulham will want sell-on fees. There might be appearance fees. There might be winning the Champions League or Premier League additional fees in there too. So Fulham certainly won't want to miss out on that. I think they will perhaps be more keen to get the deal done as well. So it will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. The fact that I think, you know, again, you read reports, Fabio Carvalho is a Liverpool fan. You would hope that regardless, he would want to come to Liverpool and we just resubmit that 8 million bid and it all goes through hunky-dory. Because he was, like Matty quite rightly said, he was going to go back to Fulham on loan anyway. Now, whether that second part slowed everything down because it's not effectively one transfer you're putting through, it's two. So that paperwork would have had to be done. That transfer to Liverpool and then back to Fulham would have had to all been in order. And Fulham were quite adamant they wanted that loan back. So it doesn't really change too much because it just means we don't loan them back. And he comes in July anyway. So, you know, fingers crossed that this deal still gets done.
If also sorry to interrupt again, but if you think about it, just like you mentioned, because I completely forgot about the Harvey Elliott tribunal fee, which was, I believe, 3 million or 1.5 million, something like that. When it comes to the tribunal, none of the clubs have leverage or they cannot stick their hand in order to change the fee. So, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense to avoid the tribunal from both sides and just agree on a deal afterwards. And then I think it was Haler that was mentioning a comment in here, by the way. Haler says, which is one of our regular listeners, he says, more information on the Carvalho deal. Price would be 8.5 million and a percentage of Fulham if Liverpool sells him later. My guess is this some reports coming out that if we do end up signing, there's like an add-on fee, but it just makes sense. Fulham is going to try to avoid and just get 3 million or 1.5 million for a player that they know that Liverpool ended up offering up to 8 million euros or 7.5 million pounds for. How much do you guys think the fee is going to end up being agreed on upon both parties? 8 million, 10 million?
I reckon it'll probably be about like what Hayler's saying there, about 8.5 million and probably a 10% sell-on fee to Fulham. And I do probably think that Nico Williams has been a sweetener in that. On the promotion push, he's definitely going to improve what they've got. He's got a winning mentality because he's been part of the Premier League winning side. So he's good to bring in when you're going for promotion. It's probably been a sweetener. If he does well there, they might buy him if they get into the Premier League. So there's loads of pluses for Fulham. So I think 8.5 million is probably what they'll get for him. But even still, like if you listen to the hype around him, even that's probably a steal. We're probably talking about in today's market, a 50, 60 million pound player in a year or two anyway. Like Elliott, you could probably sell Harvey Elliott now based on his performances in the Premier League for 30, 40 million. And we've got him for buttons, basically. So 8.5 million's a good fee, I reckon, for his age and stuff.
It's also good for Fulham because, let's be honest, if Sevilla, Madrid, Juventus, Dortmund, if they come in for him tomorrow, they'll get him for free. So, you know, 8.5 million for Dortmund or nothing is, you know, it's not a bad bargaining tool either. So Fulham actually might be pushing to get this deal done as well. But it's certainly one that we can live in hope for. He does look like a talent, and, you know, Klopp's, we always kept on talking about Klopp's version 2. It's well underway. You know, you think about Konate, Gomez, Tsimikas, Trent is obviously still young, but Conor Bradley's coming through. You've got Tyler Morton in there. You've got Curtis Jones in there. You've got Harvey Elliott. You've got so many good youngsters who are coming through. Diaz has only just turned 25. You know, and let's not forget, yes, Mo Salah is 30. And, you know, if Firmino and Mane stay there, they're edging on 30 as well. But these lads look after themselves. It's not 10 years ago where, right, 31, done, get him out the door quick. James Milner's still pushing at 36. Salah will keep on going, you know, for another 4 or 5 years easily. So Liverpool have really built, I think, well, you know, for the future. Alisson Becker, obviously the goalkeeper, is going to be the best goalie in the world for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years anyway. goalkeepers tend to be quite late. So, you know, Klopp has built that version 2.0, and there are so many.
What do
good
you
youngsters
reckon?
coming through the academy? I've not even mentioned Kai Gordon. You know what a talent he is as well.
What do you
You know,
reckon,
so-
Richie, that our next starting 11 is going to be after our current starting 11 graduates or just leaves? And same with Matty. That's an interesting thing. Like, what do you guys think is going to be the starting 11 of Liverpool with the new generation coming in? Who do you think is going to be part of it?
I wouldn't want to hazard a guess. No, I wouldn't want to hazard a guess. To be fair, probably those players who are just listed are going to be in there. But
Alisson and goal for sure, right?
I mean, even
I think Alisson.
Yeah, I mean, Ali,
Van Dijk as well, and Canate are probably nailed on for the next 5-6 years. Van Dijk isn't slowing down.
You think he's going to do 5 more years of Van Dijk? We're going to get?
Yeah, I think Van Dijk will play till he's like 36, 37. Good enough.
Matty, damn, that's 6 years more. 5, 6. I think Joe Gomez and Konate will be our partnership after 2-3 years. We all agree the fact with the Trent will be starting that right back spot. Now the question really becomes is who's going to be that left back? Is it going to be Samikas or Robertson in 3-4 years time?
Probably be Costas in 3-4 years time. He is younger than Robbo, but if Robbo is still putting performances in 3-4 years time like he is this year, I think the right man's been starting this year, to be honest with you. Robbo went through a blip, Costas started, Robbo came back and was the best in the world again. That's why we need depth. That's why Diaz is a good option as well, because it's going to make the other players play better. It always happens. It's a ripple effect. Bringing in anyone or in your position is going to make you play better because you don't want to lose that position. So that's why I even think we're going to have a massive summer. I think because with Milner and stuff going, I think the Ox will go. Then we need to bring in backup options who will probably be better quality than them anyway.
At this point, we just probably need a striker that can take up Firmino's spot for the next few years, and maybe even a defensive midfielder. We know the Athletic confirmed our interest on Aurelien Tchouameni from Monaco, and I think we're set. I mean, if you think about it, Elliot Jones or Elliot Carvalho, Tchouameni, and up top you got Jota, Luis Diaz, and a striker. We have a team for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I do think Jota will be the starting man though to replace Firmino. I think Salah will keep on going for a good while yet, and Diaz will play on the left. But we are forgetting as well that we're signing Jude Bellingham in the summer. So, you know, there's another youngster coming through.
Rich.
That's what the dreams are.
I think
yeah, that's the dream, Jude Bellingham, I think, for a lot of people in there. So listen, Jude, if you are listening, make sure that you push that through. Matty, can you talk us through then? Matty's very, very lucky lucky, but also he's put in the work, he's put in the effort to go to most of the games this season. I think he's been to every home game this season. And Matty got entered into the ballot for the League Cup final. We're off to Wembley. And Matty was successful. So Matty, just for our other listeners, can you talk about the process and, you know, so everyone is able to understand how that process works? Because it is a difficult process. I've been a member, I was talking before the cast, for about 10 years, and getting tickets is still an absolute struggle. So Matty, any tips or advice for our listeners?
Getting tickets is an absolute nightmare. Like, I used to go home and away. I've been going every home game for as long as I can remember. So if I wouldn't have got a Wembley ticket, I would have been devastated. My brother's in that position. And the way it works really is right, but it's wrong. So the first people who are guaranteed tickets, everyone who's been to home and away games, completely agree with that. Like, they had to have been to 3 out of the away and the home leg fixtures. So they could have went to 2 homes and 1 away. Fair play, they deserve it. They deserve to have the first choice because they've went away and followed the bill. But then after that, you've got like, there was just a general ballot. Like, you could have bought Arsenal and Leicester this season and you were still in the same ballot as like people who've had season tickets for 30, 40 years of going every home game for that amount of time. You was in the same ballot as them. That's not right. That, like, where's the loyalty? Like, people have been following the club for 30, 40 years and are in the same ballot as someone who maybe got 2 tickets this year. So it is infuriating on that sense. I was lucky, one of the lucky ones, got an email saying I was successful. So on Friday, I can go on and choose my seat, get my ticket, and go into Wembley. But it does just leave that little bit of taste when, like, someone like my brother, who I've went every game with for as long as I can remember, doesn't get one because of the way the ballot process worked. I suppose it gives everyone the chance to go to a cup final. So from that sense, I can understand why they do it, but I don't agree with it.
And Matty, can anybody take part of the ballot or only ticket holders?
You could only go in the ballot if you'd been to 2 out of the League Cup games. So if you'd basically went to the Arsenal and the Leicester fixtures at home, you was in the same ballot as people who had season tickets for 40 plus years. But you'll actually go to 2 of the games to be in the ballot. It won't go to general sale. There's far too many members. There's far too many people who want the ticket before it even goes anywhere near general sale. So cup finals are always like gold dust for Liverpool. They're always a ballot process, and there's always loyal fans who should get a ticket who get overlooked for people who have maybe like the League Cup. Like, I know it's not, but for many fans like myself and many other fans who follow Liverpool, it's like something we deserve. After, like, we haven't been to Wembley for years and years and years, and when we won the league and stuff, we weren't allowed to celebrate it because of COVID. So we deserve a good day out at Wembley. So it's just annoying how it's worked, but I am one of the lucky ones. So hopefully,
can people resell the tickets after they get them or no?
Yeah. Probably, like, go on the ground this year, it's all on your phone, but I do think Wembley will be paper tickets. So just sell them. So people sell them for. I've seen them on Ticketmaster for, like Richie said to me before, like 200 quid. People sell them on Viagogo for like 450 quid. Ridiculous.
And what's the regular price? 30, 40 quid?
They start from 50 and they go up to like 200 and odd, but the 50s and like the upper tier. So mine will probably be like more because I want to be down there. That upper tier is too high in Wembley. It's too big.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was
because a lot of people always.
I was on the second tier, and at the Community Shield against Manchester City, we lost on penalties. I was actually behind the goal. They were taking the penalties though, so that was quite cool. Even though that was the second tier, it wasn't even really high up, and that was still a struggle at Wembley because obviously it's such a round stadium. It's such a big stadium. So yeah, I mean, it was an absolutely brilliant day out. It's brilliant walking through Wembley Way and having that camaraderie, especially with Liverpool fans as well. What's interesting though is if you do go on Ticketmaster, I'm sure many of you will, the Chelsea tickets are like half the price of the Liverpool ones. So, you know, maybe they don't have a lot of faith in that. The only thing that always annoys me about Wembley, and you're never going to get away from it, is the thousands of tickets that go to corporate. And it pains me to see it every single cup final, every single FA Cup game that's in there. It drives me mad because after half time, you can guarantee that middle section of corporate seats will be empty. And that can go to real fans of Liverpool or Chelsea. And that will always like pain me and, you know, just make me so angry. But that's the footballing world.
It's a thing that needs to, because I know that a lot of people in the UK, especially in Liverpool, are complaining about. I know there was a point where FSG tried to raise up the ticket prices, right, and then eventually fans managed to get them down. But even if they managed to get the prices down, you still cannot get a ticket for the stadium. So it's just ridiculous. And just like Matty says, I mean, just there's fans that have been supporting the club for many years and have been going to the stadium for many years. And I do think that they do deserve a little bit of, I guess, not respect, but just a chance to support, to view their team that they've been watching for so many years. You know, just, and I also remember that I think it was the FA Cup match. If you go on Ticketmaster itself, the Man City games for the FA Cup are going for like £20 or like £18.
That's not, their Champions League games were the same. Champions League games were on like Groupon. You know, so yeah. Unfortunately, I said to Matty beforehand, you could double that stadium and it would still sell out every week at Anfield.
And then that's what, like, teams like Man City and the Etihad. I mean, regardless of the money, and they have such a huge stadium, a team that deserves more seats, way more than the ones that they already have, is Anfield. I mean, why does the Etihad have so many seats? Does anybody know the capacity of the Etihad? Is it like 40, 50, 60? 40, right? I think it's
they got that stadium because of the Commonwealth Games, basically. Like, that's why the only reason that they moved. Similar to West Ham. City were never a big club because United were the giants, like Liverpool and Everton. But Everton do have a bigger fan base than Manchester City. That's just facts. But City was always a small club. So when they got this big stadium, all this investment and winning everything, all these best players, they couldn't fill the stadium because no one was really that bothered about them. Like, I do feel like a lot of people follow Liverpool because the story behind them, the history, where we've came from, what we've become, we're the most successful club in England. So it does have a factor, but City are just embarrassing, really. But I'm not with them selling tickets for a tenner. Fair play to them. Football was always a working man's game, so them selling tickets for £5, £10, whatever it is, fair play. Putting them on Groupon's embarrassing, but the price of them was hats off to them. Every club should do that. Arsenal done it with Liverpool. They subsidised the tickets for the League Cup semi-final, and Liverpool did it with Arsenal. It's ridiculous. Like, we're playing Cardiff on Sunday, and a ticket, not even in the Cup, was like £38 or £35, and we're playing Cardiff through in the Championship. But the round before that, when we played Shrewsbury, it was like £12. So it shows that they just put the money up basically when he wants.
Also, thank you, Taylor, for the updates. Senegal supposedly is currently winning. Is that right? Are they currently winning? Because Taylor says that
got
an assist.
Yeah, they're winning 2-0. I'm not really bothered about the AFCON anymore because they're not going to play the Cardiff game anyway, so they might as well go to the final and win it. One of them.
I'd like to see a Mo Salah Mane final. That would be a treat to see the Salah Mane.
I think that's going to be it.
I think a lot of fans, I really hope so, because a lot of fans will be certainly tuning into that one as well. And like Matty, I'd rather win up and win it and come back and have that winning mentality. There's nothing better than winning trophies at football. And if Mane wins it, you know, he's the king of Senegal, and if Salah wins it, he's the king of Egypt again.
I think if Salah wins it, they'll be giving him his own pyramid named after him or something. Seriously, like, when you look at their team, Mo Salah is literally playing with a gang of plumbers. It's like him against the world, and he's doing it. He is doing it. Fair play to him. There's him and Trezeguet, I think, who don't play outside their Egyptian league, so not going to be on that much money. Probably part-time players. So probably the equivalent, like the Championship conference in, not the Championship, the conference in England.
Whoa.
So
you're doing Nani a disservice.
Oh, and him, but he's crap, so it doesn't really matter. But it's like Mo Salah against the world. So I do hope Salah wins it, but then part of me really, really wants Senegal to win it because, like what Dan said, Mane coming back, and what yourself said, Mane coming back with that winner mentality, and Diaz being there, that's good for Liverpool. Salah's always going to be Salah. I think Mane needs that lift more than Salah, but I'd like to see Salah win it just for the reaction, really.
I'd also like to see him win it because it might actually give him a bit more recognition that he deserves. But with it being AFCON, it probably won't. So anyway, lads, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone else for all of your comments and for listening in on this week's edition of The Room, the podcast brought to you by LFC Transfer Room. I've been your host, Richie. Matty, thank you for joining me. And Dan, it's always an absolute pleasure to see you and to listen to your opinions. But from us, we wish you all the very, very best. We'll see you soon when we are in the next round of the FA Cup, hopefully, and knocking Leicester about, I don't know, 4 or 5 perhaps, with Diaz coming on for a goal. Until then, though, take care. And as always, up the Reds.